All right, so we are live on Facebook and our webinar is open. Cool. Okay, so while we are hanging out for a minute, we'll wait a moment until we have some friends in our attendee list. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh. Okay, and if we only have so many people in our actual attendee list, might as well have them on panelist mode the entire time, honestly. I don't mind. Could be a fun conversation. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so it shows you the, okay. Oh. Oops. Alrighty. Welcome everyone who's joining us. I'm trying to find our participant list. There you are. Okay. Hi, friends. If you are interested in having your video permissions enabled, completely optional, but while we have some Halloween costumes on, which myself and Kate anyway, Roland is being a party pooper. Mine is invisible too, so it's not exactly like the most optimal situation. I forgot blue on blue is not very helpful, but it's a pinwheel hat. Yeah.
I wrote a Joker hat. So
please put it on. Wear your Joker hat. I love that. But if any of you who are in our attendee list, if you'd like to be online for this one and be in part of like a group instead of a webinar where we're just talking to ourselves, then you are welcome to write a note in our chat, either writing trick or treat or just saying, hello, can you please allow permission for video? And we'll elevate you to panelists. But again, completely optional. So I'll just get us moving if there isn't any interest. Okay, man, I love that hat. That's great. When I was in like high school, I was in the theater program. And so I would go up to we had like this stairs to get up to the costume area. And we just had so many costumes that Halloween was just silly because we were just like, okay, well, let's just go pick a costume. We weren't allowed to do that after like one Halloween though, because the teachers were like, what do you do? You can't take property from the school. It's fine. It was borrowed, just to clarify. No one was breaking any rules and they didn't technically have any rules until us. So it's all fine. All right, we're going to go ahead and get moving. If anyone would like to join us on screen for having a costume or just saying hello, we can do that as well, but I'll just get us moving. And we will be talking about why and how to report roadkill. Quite the exciting topic for being around the corner from Halloween. If anyone celebrates, this is definitely one of those more gruesome topics, but we chose a good part of the year to do it, hopefully. Yeah. Awesome. All right. As usual, if you've been around for any of these events, myself, Emma, I am a program coordinator with SciStarter, and I am usually the host for these. Sometimes we have a couple others, and then Roland, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi. I'm the IT support or the Joker tonight. So whatever you need, just post it in the chat.
Amazing. I love the idea of like tonight because it's
tonight
for me. Reporting in from Lebanon, which is nighttime.
And it's 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Yeah, that's considerable. So that's totally night. I feel like it's more in theme for it to be nighttime for you. Amazing. All right. And then just some ground rules really quickly. As per usual, we have the Q&A and the chat box for you. So if you'd like to send us any messages, you can send it in the chat, the webinar chat if you'd like. And you can also send it in the Q&A. If it's anything specific to the topics of citizen science or the project, the Q&A is probably best. So we can make sure that we cover your questions as a part of the bigger picture of the presentation. If you could as well, please introduce yourself in the chat so we know that you're able to use the chat. For example, I'll go ahead and write in, I'm Emma, zooming in from Phoenix, Arizona. Onyx, Arizona. If you remember how to spell it by saying it that way. Okay. Ta-da! Zooming from, and if you added that in.
To everyone, send the message.
Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. Yeah, I sent it to only hosts and panelists. Oopsie. everyone. There you go. Awesome. All right. Maine. Is it cold in Maine?
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly warm today, but it's definitely been getting colder. It's kind of a freakishly warm and wet day.
Seriously?
So yeah,
Warm.
and we've
Like
we've
humid, or is it raining?
it's been raining, it's humid, it's warm, and most of the trees have lost their leaves. So
Oh,
it's kind of in between.
yeah, getting into some kind of season. It's weird because I feel like I just missed out on seasons because I grew up in Southern California and now I'm in Arizona. And so I'm like, what are seasons? What does this mean? Alrighty, and great segue. Since you already spoke, Kate, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh my goodness, I'm wearing the same shirt. I'm Kate Roy. I'm a systems developer at the MDI Biological Laboratory up in Bar Harbor, Maine. And Indicate is a free platform for citizen science that I co-created and developed. And yeah, I am, as you can see, a Halloween and pumpkin aficionado. And so I am a raccoon today. I am a raccoon most days, but I don't normally do the face paint.
The raccoon makeup, like the dark eyeliner.
Yeah, I don't do the face paint.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm just picturing like Taylor Momsen eye makeup on the so like that, not like that.
I don't do that. I just do eyeliner.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds great. Alrighty. For those of us who are with us, oh, and thank you, Constantina. Love it, from Greece. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, there are a lot of internationals who zoom in with us. So I'm like, well, for anyone who does celebrate, but some of us do not. So welcome from Greece. And as always, we do want to know exactly like what kind of individuals we're talking to right now. So, and panelists, you are welcome to answer these as well, I believe. But have you ever participated in a citizen science project before? Okay, we're at 75%. Okay, cool. Oh, all of us have. That's amazing. Okay, that's great. Love it. All right, so then we have another question for you. Have you ever been to a SciStarter live event before? So are you a regular at these Tuesday afternoons? Okay, all right, a little bit more splits. We've got 67% of you are yeses, you have been, and then 33% no's. Awesome. All right, so welcome, my friend who is new. Amazing. And lastly, for the type of person you are and how you're involved, we want to know, are you an aspiring citizen scientist, a student, parent of an aspiring citizen scientist, a teacher, educator, etc., librarian, researcher, project leader, board person on the internet, always a good one. Okay, good. All right, we got students and researchers on here. That's awesome. Okay, good to know. Great. All right, so we'll go ahead and get moving on all these topics then. So as usual, we do go through a little bit of background about citizen science for anyone who might be less familiar. So citizen scientist, by definition of SciStarter's definition anyway, is a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. It's how people can make an impact on issues they care about and help science. So all of us can get involved, and the best way to get involved is to do our step number one, which is always join SciStarter. SciStarter.org is essentially your big database of projects. We have 1,600 projects on there, and there's some added every other day. And so it gives you a really great starting point to get involved in these projects and choose one and find one that actually suits your interests. Right? In addition to having all those projects, we also have trainings for you. Foundations of Citizen Science is a training that teaches you all about what citizen science is and how to get involved and what the ideas behind citizen science are, so you can feel the most prepared to get started on the projects. And that is our step number 2 to getting involved as a citizen scientist. In addition to our foundations, we have follow-on trainings that are all using the prerequisite of the foundations training. So the second you take foundations, that means that you are able to take any of the 4 that are listed here. We did do an event on data literacy, last live event. And that one is really impactful and important for those of us who want to feel confident with our data. And I'm positive that Kate will want to say more about data importance as we get through to data. There's also some for librarians and higher education teaching, and a more recent one, the most recent one that came out is the data ethics for practitioners. So that's our newest one. Awesome. All righty. We are going to talk about the project Roadkill Reports, on Anecdata today. And just to get us started, this is an affiliate project. So Anecdata has a very special relationship with SciStarter that allows affiliation for all the projects. And in order to make sure that that connection works, you have to sign up for anecdata.org using the same email address as your SciStarter.org email. And then within SciStarter, as long as you visit and connect the project to your dashboard on SciStarter, it'll start catching all of your observations and contributions as credit. And you'll see all that on your SciStarter dashboard. And you'll go to Anecdata to do all those projects. Yeah, and those steps here just essentially align with this. For anyone who was interested, all this will be emailed to you in the follow-up email as well. Alrighty, I'm going to pause here and go ahead and stop my screen share so that Kate can jump in. There we go.
Fantastic. Okay, and I need to bring up my slides, which I realize I just closed. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Do you want me to share my screen for a moment?
No, I'm good. I've got this.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to hit share screen. And wait, I don't want to share a screen. I want to share my entire row. Stop share. We are sharing a window. Share screen, and we're sharing SciStarter Live. And we're going to.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness.
I think you can just hit slideshow and then it will.
Okay, where are we hitting? There we are.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Okay, no. Okay, so I'm Kate Bailey. I'm a systems developer at the MDI Biological Laboratory, and I'm also the project manager for the Roadkill Reports project. And so to use Anecdata, you can either use Anecdata on the web by just following this link. I also made a QR code here that you can scan. And also, and the QR code will actually take you to the App Store or to Google Play, depending on your device. And you can get started downloading the Anecdata app. It's pretty straightforward. We just need to have your name and your email address, and you can set up a password and poof, you're in. So I just want to give a little bit of background on who I am and who my team is. So I'm based out of the MDI Biological Laboratory in Bar Harbor, Maine. You can see us right there. That's our campus with Cadillac Mountain behind us, which is the highest point on the eastern seaboard. And so my institution actually primarily works in biomedical research around human regeneration and aging. But we do a lot of other work involving the environment, stewardship. We look at how the environment connects with human health, and all of that work happens out of the community lab. And I've been working out of the community lab since 2013. And Anecdata.org arose directly out of that research that we were doing. Originally, we wanted to have a platform to find out where eelgrass, which is a aquatic flowering plant, was growing and where it wasn't growing. And we couldn't find a good platform for finding out where things weren't growing. And so I made one. And over time, Anecdata got more and more projects. And today, it's home to over 200 projects at many organizations across the world. So the entire point of the Roadkill Reports project is really that we want to have an easy project for people to participate in pretty much anywhere in the world, at least anywhere where there's cars. Because we found that a lot of the projects on Anecdata were very centered on a specific place. So for example, if you're tracking, eelgrass in Maine, well, that's just Maine. And we wanted to really maximize the number of people and the number of places where people could be participating in this project. And the second goal of this project, and it's really a secondary goal, although I do think it's quite important, is that I would like to see this project and data from it being used to help drive public policy. And so a cool thing about the Roadkill Reports project is that anybody can download the data. So if you go to the project dashboard and hit observations on the left sidebar, we have a button where you can just click download dataset, and you can get the entire data set or a subset of it, for example, for specific animals or for a specific place. And then you can share those data with your local officials. And I should say this line, that used to be my daily commute. That was, I think that was 55 miles. And I'm glad I don't do that anymore for myself and for the critters. I never hit a critter. And so just a little bit of an overview on Anecdata. We're actually home to quite a few projects. So it's not just Roadkill. For example, in South Carolina, people are looking at dolphins, or looking at seafood in restaurants, or looking at the locations of pipes in a city, or the Silent Earth Project is a NASA project where people are measuring background sound levels with their phones. So there's a lot of different ways you can get involved with Anecdata, but I think Roadkill Reports is a really good first step. And so who can participate in this project? Anybody 13 years or older can create an Anecdata account. If somebody is under 13, I would suggest that they talk to a parent or guardian, and the parent or guardian can create an account, and the person under 13 can use that account with their parent or guardian's supervision. And really, I mean, a big part of this is animals are good. I like animals. I really hate to see all the critters I see on the side of the road every day going into work. So hopefully we can start doing something to change this. And so now I think I'd like to do a little walkthrough on how the data entry process works. I'm going to be using my computer for this, but you can also do this using the mobile app, and the workflow is pretty much the same. So here, I'm going to hop out, and we're going to hop over to the Roadkill Reports project. And so if you don't have an Anecdata account yet, when you click New Observation, it will first prompt you to go through the process of creating an account. But I'm already logged in, so I'm going to skip that part. But it's pretty straightforward. So first of all, the project wants to know where you are. And so to start off, it doesn't know. So it says pick location. And so I will click open the location picker. And ta-da, it got my location. And so we can zoom in. And that's actually not exactly where I am. I'm going to fib. For some reason, this has geolocated my computer to a little piece of woods. But we're going to say that I saw some roadkill right here at this intersection. In Bangor, Maine. Actually, that's in Brewer, Maine. And the animal I saw was, of course, and when you type in raccoon, it will ask, we have a database of all the species in the world, but it suggests the most observed ones first. So this should probably be it, a common raccoon, northern raccoon. And what date did I see that? I saw that today. And so there is just one raccoon. And let's see, choose a file. Do I have any good raccoon pictures? Oh, let's see. Temporary. I used to have many good raccoon pictures. Oh no. I don't have. I had so many good raccoon pictures. Well, you know what? I'm going to upload a picture of myself because that's all I've got. I am a raccoon sometimes.
Can I ask a quick question about this?
Yeah.
When we're talking about species name, now I've had a lot of instances where I've gone past a roadkill site where I have zero clue what the animal is. What do you recommend for that situation?
And I would answer it to the best of your ability. So for example, if you know that it had fur, and therefore that it's a mammal, you could just type, you could just choose mammals here. Or for example, turtle, you could say testudines, turtles, tortoises, and terrapins. And so
Mhm.
you can actually pick any point in the tree of life. It does not have to be a species level observation.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm going to say raccoon though. Raccoon today, I saw one and I uploaded a photo. And so I'm done. Wow. The test observation.
Is there any particular information you'd like to be shared in the additional observation notes? Or like what is helpful?
I don't really think so. I mean, for example, if you have information about the about your local, for example, about the road infrastructure, for example, like this is a common this is a really common occurrence in this place, or for example, that this kind of animal is a very common occurrence here. I think that's important information. Or if you talked about, for example, what you've already done to try to get mitigations in place, that might involve, for example, if you're talking about like deer, that might mean fencing. If you're talking about turtles, that might mean that they need to have a better culvert under the road to cross through. Just things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so when you go over now to the observations page, you can see here you go. We've got a little map of where it was, species name, they observed. There was one, and this was the raccoon in question. And you can see going back that we've got lots of observations. We've got, for example, the possum, the common raccoon. Oh no, we're not actually going to show the animals further down because it's too sad. I'm not going there, but you can also look at these data in different ways. So for example, I can choose a map and I can see a map of everywhere that people have reported roadkill in the course of this project. You can also do a quick data analysis. So here, I'm going to bring up species name and count. And we can do a quick roundup of the different kinds of animals that have been reported in this project. And I found that the #1 species reported has been raccoons. I think it's got to do with being nocturnal, being slow, and probably not having very good vision, and therefore being not very well positioned to deal with having a car come at you. But that's all really quite sad. Here, let's go back to this. And oh no, this isn't taking me now off of my. So yeah, what we found actually here was that the biggest animal incidents were for skunks, for opossums, for gray squirrels, and for raccoons. I also have found that, for example, that opossums, I have not seen any reports on here of opossums, but I've certainly heard word of mouth of opossums actually starting to turn up in Maine. So I think I'm going to start to see opossums turning up in this project at some point as the climate warms and they start coming up a little bit further every winter. And so when you look at the different participants in this project, we have not gotten as much adoption of this project as I would like, but also I have not put any effort into promoting it other than having it just be on Annogated for people to find. So I haven't been, reaching out to other organizations, asking people or schools and asking people to get their students involved, which I would love to see happen. So far there have been 50 participants in this project. All of them are in the US so far, and 42% of them participate in another project. And so far it's mostly been adults, although there have been some high school students participating. And so I would really like to see happening with this project coming forward is just seeing more people participating, more organizations participating. We're working on some tools to help get these data out in a more accessible way. So for example, we're thinking about I've actually got a colleague right now who's been working on making data sets in the Anecdata project available with the global biodiversity. I actually forget what the I stands for, but it's GBIF is an online biodiversity database, and we're working on making these data available in that database for researchers to access there. So see that? Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much my my walkthrough on the Anecdata project. I guess back to you, Emma.
Awesome. Thank you. That is, I'm so glad you were able to tell us a bit more about like who's been involved so far, and like that honesty about like how it's been going actually, how long has it been created?
This project has been on Anecdata since 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and to have 50 people on there, but 500 plus like observations, that's pretty impressive for those individuals like staying true to it or like sticking to it. I
We've
really
got some
like.
I think of them as super users. There's some people who they find a project that really works for them, works with their daily routine, and they're just at it. And hats off to them. I really appreciate, you know, having them engaging with the project like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm already thinking through because my parents live in a very not rural, but woodsy place in Prescott, Arizona. And so I'm already thinking like, oh gosh, I have to send my dad this video to make him do this. Because he also, of course, he's like involved with his neighborhood watch or whatever. So I feel like he would be the perfect salesman for you. So hopefully I can make that happen, because yeah, I think this is crazy important. And I wonder just how many people. I feel like it would be incredibly popular if we could bring in more people from certain areas, like even like colleges, like NAU and that's Northern Arizona University, and a couple others that are in like mountainy areas. I always think that they have those more biodiversity and like ecosystem or like school clubs, the student organizations that do these types of things or service for wildlife. And it seems like an excellent project to like help those groups also grow in their ability to actually do action, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all that is amazing. I know I have a couple of questions, but for anyone who is in our call with us, do we have any questions for Kate at this time? Maybe not. It's okay if you don't, no pressure. Okay, if anything does pop up, feel free to ask either in the chat or in the Q&A. We're happy to answer them. In the meantime, though, as a part of my personal interest and hopefully anyone who would benefit from hearing these things, we do want to know a little bit about the guests that come on to SciStarter Live and know how they got to where they are. So I wanted to take the time to ask a couple of questions. Specifically, can you tell us about your journey from the start of Anecdata or how you got to this point? So maybe that's the start of Anecdata. I'm not really sure what you would like to define as.
Yeah, okay. So I guess my journey starts back in 2013. I was how did things originally start? I started working at the community lab at the MDI Biological Laboratory. I had some experience building websites, but at the time I was actually working mostly in doing water quality, swim beach water quality monitoring, and also updating our quality assurance project plan, which was a big stack of protocols on how to monitor water. And I had to develop this documentation. And that's where I was when the call came for me to make a website to start collecting data. And ever since then, it's just taken off. I've had so much interest from other organizations that want to start collecting data. And I've put a lot of time into helping project managers make their projects a thing. And really, Roadkill Reports was something that I created because I just wanted to make something a little bit more accessible for other people. And at this point now, I'm just thinking about how can I create a different project that can also possibly be more accessible to people who might not be walking through areas that have high-speed car traffic that causes wildlife fatalities in the first place. So kind of a sister project, if you will.
And wait, there is a sister project that's not.
No, I'm trying to brainstorm a good sister project that's that doesn't involve going near fast roads. That might be a little bit more accessible to very young people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My brain immediately goes to one of my favorite projects that are favorite citizen science projects, the marine debris tracker, because it's all about just picking up litter regardless of where you are. It's helpful to be by the ocean, but also you don't have to be. So something along the lines of like just being able to walk around and like photograph something or being able to explain those things. That is a great question. I'll start thinking about that too. That's yeah, that would be super helpful. We do have a question in the chat asking about the green dots versus the clear dots on the map that you have. I can share my screen for the picture. I believe it's, yeah, okay. So I'll start. Oh, of course, it doesn't want to do what I want it to do. There we go. Okay. You might see the top of
Are they the hexagons?
Yes.
Yeah. So the hexagons, what we're doing there, it's a mapping approach called binning. So the entire map is a hexagonal grid of shapes, and the darker green they are, the more observations are inside that area. And if there's no observations there, then there won't be a shape there at all. It's really just a way to make it a little bit easier to click on an area on the map, because there can be so many, there can be thousands of shapes, thousands of different locations, and it's easier if you can click on a shape and have everything within it appear.
Gotcha. Okay. Is the darker green where there are the most observations too? So it's
Exactly, yeah.
okay, great. So if I were to click on one of the hexagons, it would be like, okay, all these observations based on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Very organized. Yeah, being able to see it in that form is actually really helpful because it kind of astounds me how much of rural and wildernessy area of the US does not actually participate or has minimal. So I'm like, oh, so many opportunities here.
And up in the Pacific Northwest, I think a lot of the observations we have up there are actually observations from people who also participate in the it's the Wetlands Conservancy's project Beaver Survey. And so there's people who are collecting observations of beaver dams around Seattle. And I think those people are also just very interested in sharing observations of how beaver get affected by car impacts. And so I think that's kind of why we have a Pacific Northwest
hotspot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. This is giving me flashbacks of driving up to Huntington Lake in California, because it seems to be like a weird, I don't know if epidemic is a good word for it, but there was a very large amount of chipmunks, like little itty bitty little guys that would just run in front of the car. Like they would be just running. And it felt like, I remember just talking to my friends in the car, like, is this some form of like dare that these chipmunks are doing in their young age of like, all right, here's your like crossing the bridge. What's the word for like adulthood? It's a coming of age thing.
Yeah.
It was horrifying how many of them there were that would literally run out the second they saw a car. I mean, that's the theory because it would just happen so often, but also no scientific backing for that. But that's an area, and that's like out in, oh gosh, I don't remember, probably like around here actually. Huntington Lake. But it was horrifying. So it's interesting. We did have a question in the Facebook commentary. I'm so glad that Taylor's listening, and because how do I report roadkill? That is exactly what we're talking about. I love it. So if you would like to learn about how to report, to actually do the reporting, We went through a demonstration of it that'll be in the recording as well. So I wonder if that would just be easier to do. But you can do it via the app for Anecdata or online on the browser. And it's a really simple process that was just gone through by Kate. So in the recording, it'll be a very, very quick, like, new observation, or sign in, I guess. Sign in, new observation, put in the data, and then you're good. So when you see it, it would be good to take a picture of where you see it and identify like where in the world you are so that you're able to report it later if you want to do it on a computer. Is that all correct?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Craziness. Questions, craziness. One of my teachers says questions, comments, rumors. Adds in rumors just in case. Okay. You are very welcome, Mike. I love the all caps.
Pleasure.
Okay, I did have one more question about this specific project. Because you're looking into public policy changing, do you have a vision of the future in which like it accomplishes everything that you can picture as a part of the goals? What does that future look like? Can you draw that out for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've actually been working on this. We've been working on developing a framework for helping participants in projects like this one start affecting policy more. And so that involves creating a what we're calling a civic action toolkit, which provides people with resources in learning, for example, how their local and regional government works, who they would have to talk to affect policy. So, for example, in this case, we're talking about transportation policy, or so probably, in the United States, that will be your Department of Transportation or your local municipality, and also helping people create compelling data analyses. So, for example, learning how maps work, learning how to present data in a compelling way so that somebody else can easily and quickly understand what the problem is, and therefore so that they can actually go about changing policy to fix it. And so it's part civic literacy and part data literacy. And we've been doing some work on this in the realm of public health and drinking water. We have a project where middle schoolers are sampling their drinking water and having it tested for arsenic, and then talking to policymakers. And we're taking what we're learning and we're trying to incorporate that into a framework that can be applied to any project.
Okay, that is awesome. I will definitely bother you about that later. That's very in line with I'm a graduate student right now, and it's all about science communication. So I am going to be bothering you about that. That's awesome. That civic civic action toolkit is an excellent idea. I love that. Is that through the lab too, or is it?
Yeah, that's through the lab, and that's actually part of a NIH funded grant, SEPA grant called All About Arsenic, and you can learn more at allaboutarsenic.org.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna write that. Excellent. Okay. We did have one more question in the Q&A, Diane. Thank you for sharing. Can we see a list of what was seen at each location on the map? You did demonstrate that for us. Do you mind showing this?
Yeah. Let me go do another share really quick.
Can't say I
share screen and view project. Here we go. So yeah, so you can on any of these hexagons, you can click, and it will take you to that location, and it will show you all of the observations. So we have here, for example, a snow mole, 2 different snow moles, a possum, a snake.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can see all of those things on there. And you can also do more filtering. You can do more filtering. So for example, I can do a filter for where the count is greater than 5. And we can see here we have, I guess we had 2 mass casualties
Oh, 5-in-1 report.
Yeah. Oh, this one had 50. Oh, I remember this. I remember this. This was my colleague, Dr. Jane Disney, and she was driving through New Hampshire, and she saw so many squirrels in the road in this one section of road that she had to stop counting, and I think she stopped at 50.
Oh
And
my
I think that
God.
had to do with probably a glut of food and a squirrel population boom. We actually had something similar to that here. I think it was last year, because lots of acorns means lots of squirrels. But yeah, there's been a few. And then this one here, what was this? This is lots of raccoons.
Oh man.
Yeah, so this must have been along a stretch of road. And the cool thing about Anecdata is I can actually go through to the report, and if I wanted, I can actually click here and I can send this person a private message and ask them more questions about what they saw, or I can just click directly on the observation here, and I can write a comment right here that anybody can see.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, while we're on the topic, actually, for anyone who is concerned about like data privacy and like the privacy concerns of Anecdata, what are the things that are public? It's just the username, or what else is?
Yeah, so here, let's go through to an observation and I'll show you what's public. So what's public is the account that created it. So in this case, we know that Lawyer Lex did it. We know where they say they were.
Mhm.
So that's not necessarily where the person was when they were making the observation. That's where they said this was. We know what they we know the what, the when, the where, and the how many. And that's pretty much everything that's involved in this project. So there's nothing like really personal being shared here.
That's good. Okay. Sorry, I have noises in my background. Hopefully they're not verbal. Excellent. Okay, cool. So if anyone who was wondering about that, you only need to worry about your username essentially being visible on the screen. That is good to know. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead since it's all right. We're at, let's see, I'm at 11:42, but the Eastern time it's 2:42. So
242.
yeah, we'll go ahead and give your 15 minutes of the hour back, I suppose, which is super nice. We're getting better and better and quicker at these events, so we can give you some more time. Given that information, I'm going to go ahead and share the resources with you that we share every time, but just in case anyone needs to get those reminders, we did add one, and I will give a forewarning for the future. So as always, there are a ton of resources on SciStarter to get through getting stuck on anything, if you want to boost, etc. You can ask project leaders questions. You can ask the community questions within the SciStarter website. There are lots of resources for you in that regard. You can always contact us at info@scistarter.org, which is listed up here. I did add a podcast symbol here. We do have a podcast that happens once a month that talks about something relevant to the month and relevant to the time period. So if anyone is interested in learning about newer science news or interested in projects that relate to time and place, that is a super helpful tool. Yeah, I don't remember what the most recent one was, honestly. I should remember that, but I don't recall. Oh gosh, I'll be listening to it after this apparently. And then of course we have our trainings that we already talked through, so I'll skip on that one. And then again, we have a scistarter.org/finder to find your next project. I believe you could search Anecdata and find all the ones that are through Anecdata too via SciStarter, so that would be helpful if you like the platform of Anecdata. I personally do. Very easy to work with in my from my viewpoint anyway. Yeah, so all those things are available to you. We do have a survey that happens after this call is closed, and we would appreciate any information that you have for us regarding these events, or if you have any requests for future projects, we're willing to listen to them. Upcoming, we have our National STEAM Day on November 8th. So we have another event next week on the 1st, but November 8th, just to give a shout out, we will be doing art projects. So anyone who is listening in on this now, be aware there will be some fun art to do on the 8th. Yeah, okay. Lastly, we want to make sure that we're bringing this up in the near future. So you'll start hearing a lot more from us about something called Citizen Science Month. If you've never heard of it before, it's essentially a month in which it's April, by the way. Citizen Science Month is April, and it's just a time in which we focus on doing as many projects and honor the idea of citizen science. So we'll start bringing that into conversations as we move forward for anyone who is interested in getting involved. Awesome. Okay. Are there any last questions, comments? Kate, would you like to share any words of wisdom? Oh, I see chat things, but it might just be Roland giving us.
Just if you want to find the project, I shared the URL, or you can just go to anecdata.org/projects, where you can also find you can check a box and find all the projects that are also on SciStarter. So you can go both ways there. Thank you everybody so much for joining us, and it's been a real pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And then lastly, forgot to mention, sorry, next week we'll be talking about space scurvy. This is all about vitamin C. So if anyone wants to know about making sure our astronauts don't get space scurvy, which is a thing, we'll talk about that. Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and stop our stream.